Welcome back for another episode of Flipping the Lid. You guys know what the show's all about. You know what the intro is. We are taking a look inside these stories to really make sure that we can empower both you and the guest with everything possible to kind of free ourselves through what we've been through, how we're doing it, and where we're going. What's really amazing is I get the chance to interview some really incredible people that I get to pick their brains, I get to learn from, and that's what this is all about. Shortening the curve to learning for everybody by tapping into the collective wisdom of so many people that we have access to. So my friend Omar Medrano is with us today. And, you know, he's gotten a really interesting title over the years because he's starting to become known as the vacation CEO. I love that a little bit. We're going to dig into what he's doing and really helping people overcome the basic blocks that keep them from actually growing, from getting what they want, from living the lives that they desire, and asking that greatest question, what if? And so, Omar, brother, man, I'm looking forward to jumping in, but why don't you tell all of us a little bit about who you are?
Who am I? I'm just honored to be here on your show, man. I'm honored right here, right now. We're doing the show. Who am I? I'm a father. I'm a son. I'm an entrepreneur. I'm a podcaster. I wear many hats. I've always had the whatever it takes attitude. I'm a guy that could have been a journalist, but never was a journalist. Start, stop, it doesn't matter. I am omnipresent, or I try to be omnipresent. I try to be a master of all trades.
So what I absolutely love, by the way, and I have to pause just to call attention to it, the first two things you said in identifying and answering who you were is a father and a son. I have a great level of respect for people who recognize the priorities and the hierarchies of levels of importance in their life. And though you said, I want to be omnipresent in every area, it's clear that that is two of your most important roles and identities. I'm curious, one, what does omnipresent mean to you as it relates to how you describe that? Because I loved how you said that. And then two, how do you remain omnipresent with so many things pulling at you in life?
Omnipresent for me is I've always believed to be a person of service. I don't chase people based on their checking account. And that's what a lot of people do. They're always chasing money. You know, we all say, oh, we're Christian. Well, then be more Christ-like. You know, have a following, sure, whatnot. Quit trying to be hashtag influencer. All you need to do is influence yourself, influence those around you. Try to help people up. It's so hard. It's easier to destroy. Why can't we help people? Why can't we create? We all want to change lives. Start with ourselves. My legacy, yes. I want to be known as somebody that helped out as many people as possible. And two, that my two daughters, Lauren and Mia Medrano, say, he was just an amazing father.
You know, it's interesting. I, on all of my social profiles, have father and husband first. Those are two things that I've really deeply identified with. And it's the only thing binary in my world, because if they're not good, everything else I'll walk away from. You clearly understand some of those things, but you also are recognizing the ability to help not only yourself, but so many others move through things that have kept them stuck in prior lives. And that's truly why you focus on the 90% of entrepreneurs that fail and trying to be able to get more of them successful. So can you talk a little bit about where you see most entrepreneurs fail and where those lessons applied for you first?
You know, the reason why entrepreneurs fail is their limiting beliefs, that little voice inside their head. The limiting beliefs have been placed in each and every one of us since childhood. Our friends, our family, society, to protect us. And instead, it created dysfunction. It created that little bitch voice that says, you're not worthy, you're not good enough. Why do you want to be successful? Or, oh my gosh, another no. So many people, I'm not in sales. We're all in sales. We had to connect. We had to give each other compelling reasons to do this show. Everybody is in sales. Everybody starts the day at zero. Commission-based, baby. I don't care if you're on salary. Do absolutely nothing for a month, and that salary will be gone. And that's the mindset that we all have to have. Quit focusing on the past. Quit focusing on trauma and focus on winning.
Yeah. So what's interesting is that one of the things that we believe so much is that the thing that keeps people singularly stuck is the trash from their past. I don't want people to sit in it for any longer than they need to, but to extract the relevant lessons, because those limiting beliefs, those patterns that have created damage and destruction in our lives, which are the easiest things to come, right? They are shaped in those early moments in our life. They are shaped in places that were conscious and unconscious. For you to be in a position to be teaching people so effectively how to move through these limiting beliefs, you must have had some yourself. Are you willing to flip open the lid and help unpack some of the areas that you used to get stuck by these beliefs?
Of course. My first book, What If It Did Work? It discussed it. I had limiting beliefs the size of the Statue of Liberty. My mom and dad divorced before I was even born in 1973. So I grew up an only child. My mom was only 20. She did the best she could with the tools that she had. I had abandonment issues. I had self-worth issues. I was an introvert. I was even fearful of asking out women, girls growing up, because if they said no, who was I? What did I have to offer? My father abandoned me. I still haven't met the guy. But yet, if they said no, it would be everywhere. The Miami Herald would find out. It would be on the local news, the whole school. Oh my gosh. Oh, everything from, somebody's going to either abandon me or take me, strangers. I had everything crazy going on inside my head.
And when did you start to identify that these were actually limiting beliefs based on what had come from your past? Like, when did you start to face the resistance from it?
Well, I grew up in Miami, a place where most people go on vacation. I felt Miami sucked. This place sucked. It wasn't me. It was Miami. I could have been born in Santa Barbara. I could have lived in Bowl, Aspen.
Anywhere would have sucked.
Yeah. But I felt I need to move to Baton Rouge. I need to go to LSU. I didn't know family. I didn't have friends, nothing. But LSU, Louisiana had it. When you run away, your problems come back. They find you. I was an introvert. I wouldn't speak. I had the same issues. I joined a fraternity and they couldn't get me to speak. It was like that. So it was a haze. It was actually hazing. It was a little technique that they thought they were messing with me to get me out of my comfort zone. But what it did was it flipped the switch, and it's a great story. The story happens this way. Louisiana, LSU, drinking town. 7 days, 365 days. Well, 364. You can't drink on Easter or Ash Wednesday, whatnot. But we would go out and they would force me, because I was a pledge, still haze to this day, fraternities. And they would make me go ask out women to either dance, buy them a drink, ask them out on a date. Well, 90% of those women already knew to say no because they were friends of the fraternity. The other 10% were with the guy, and it was Friday night fights. They wanted to start a fight, whatnot. Well, they gave me a nickname. I would have to introduce myself as Goose Man. And they'd be like, why are you called police? Yeah. And it's because all I ever do is crash and burn. So from a guy that thought no was like going to kill me, it just numbed me eventually.
Well, thank you for going there, and thank you for sharing some of that. I'm a big believer that true strength actually hides behind vulnerability. We'll continue obviously on some of these stories, but you said something with your nickname that I have to pause on. I can't pass over it because, I have this connection to a movie called Top Gun that truly has relevance with that. And so I have to know, you were born in 1973. You were what, 12 years old when Top Gun came out. So was Top Gun a movie that you ever watched, liked, or actually ever was able to quote?
I was older than 12.
I thought you said 1973. Didn't it come out in like 1984?
No, man, that came out like late 80s. I was in high school.
Oh, dude, I swear it's 1984. We're gonna have to confirm this.
Wikipedia.
I'm looking right now. Because this is where we're gonna have fun.
I'm a movie buff. You know why I know that? Because Kelly McGillis was out in Witness before that. Witness came out around 1984. I saw that in the movie theater. And he was the bad guy and all that.
Okay, hold on. Oh, it was 86. We were
in between.
We were in between. I was 84, 86. Dude, we're going to comply. Now, did you see Maverick, the new one that came out?
I had to.
Oh, dude, was that not incredible?
Dude, it was, but you're gonna laugh. I was on a date, and we were sitting next to Gen Zers that couldn't relate, and they're texting each other back and forth. I mean, clearly they didn't appreciate the movie because you have to be like a Gen X. You have to be people our age to appreciate the nostalgia, appreciate everything about the movie.
Yeah. And, I think it's really cool because they took like real-time visual effects with the understanding of human behavior and advanced that 30 years. And they found a way to make it even more exhilarating sitting in those cockpits on film. Oh, it was so cool.
I loved it.
Yeah.
It was my wheelhouse. It was like everybody, Gen X. I mean, I loved the movie. It was great.
Beautiful.
Standalone movie, even without.
I had to have the sidebar there because, dude, your name is awesome. So you were always crashing and burning, right? So you were able to move through that. Fortunately, you didn't end up right in peril like the movie, but you moved through that. And you probably redeveloped and relearned elements of how to actually express your voice. You're teaching people now how to ask for what they want. And it was very clear, and you stated it. I couldn't ask for what I wanted, and I couldn't use my voice effectively at that time in my life.
I couldn't even speak in high school. I couldn't even speak growing up. They had me in ESOL, English for speakers of another language. Now, either Miami-Dade public school system did such an amazing job with me that I don't have an accent, or I could always speak English, and I was just fearful of speaking. Graduating high school, I think Arnold Schwarzenegger in the movie Terminator actually had more lines than I ever spoke in high school.
Wow. That is impactful. And now you actually are a speaker teaching people to use their voice, which I think is really incredible. What I love about how you just even went through that and answered that question, Omar, is the clarity of which it had nothing to do with the strategy and tactics. It had everything to do with the emotional trigger and trash from your past that you couldn't move through. That's what had you stuck. You said, I was afraid to use English in that way, in that time, which limited my voice, though I actually had the ability to verbalize and articulate. And so what held your voice back had nothing to do with the strategy, tactics, or understanding of the language. It had everything to do with how you showed up.
It was like, even my junior high assistant principal told me it'd be a cold day in hell the day I graduated college. And he was right. It actually snowed in Vancouver the day I graduated. The first time in 30-something years it snowed. There was a blizzard throughout the whole country. And I looked up and I'm like, man, I was
spot on.
It came back, that quote. I'll never forget. I forgot for a while until it was actually snowing in Louisiana. And he said it'd be a cold day in hell the day I graduated college.
So I'm happy you were able to move through that. It's interesting because many people don't. You and I both know this with the people that we coach and how we actually help them stand into who they are, ask for what they want, go after what they want in their lives. But there are many entrepreneurs, as you know, that never move beyond that. I just had a guest on our other show, Trash Talk, that's a coaching show, and we're literally helping people quickly do that this morning. Someone who has her voice, who has her understanding, didn't have the same challenges that you did yet, right? She's still in a position where she feels like sharing her message was the biggest hurdle. I believe that these things happen for so many entrepreneurs. What are the most common fears you see people exist in?
The most common is just self-worth, man. I mean, perfect example. Why am I going to blame my childhood? We're adults.
Yeah.
I'm 49, man. What am I going to do? Go talk to a therapist and blame my parents? After a while, man, I have to man up. I can understand if I was 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. But enough. We keep on reliving our history or her story. Quit, man. Neither one of us knows Doc Brown. Neither one of us has a flux capacitor. We don't have a DeLorean. So move forward, man. Quit thinking of the past. And the past, everybody holds their trauma. Everybody holds their defeats. They put it in their their backpack, like their Louis
Yeah.
or Gucci backpack, and they carry it. They carry it like a cross, their own cross to bear.
So, Omar, I think we have a lot of really, really similar thought processes. There's one I want to shift and understand a little better just based on what you said. So, I believe that too many people who live in the past just become aware of all the ways that they should be judging themselves based on their past.
Oh,
I believe that an effective measure for looking into our past is to pause long enough to extract the lessons that we can understand from our paths and become intentional in how we apply them forward. What I don't advocate, and I will just want to make sure, because I don't think this is what you're saying either. I'm not a believer, and you clearly aren't either in your own life. You understood the lessons to extract from these moments that kept you stuck, and you used your past to propel your future.
exactly.
So though you didn't live there and exist there, I wanted to clarify, because what I'm hearing you say and what I believe you help people do is to recognize that their past doesn't have to determine their future, and it's not going to remain and keep them stuck as long as they can learn and move through it.
Exactly. The past, you should only use the past to inspire, to motivate people. I talk about my past to be on stage. I talk about my past to be on your stage, public speaking, to help out others. To me, it was just an event. It's like watching those old Life magazines or Time magazines.
Yeah.
It already occurred. You know, when somebody lives in their past, like if I was like, oh my God, that pause. You know what? Congratulations, Mr. Morris. You thought that highly of me. It is what it is. People being divorced, and if you want to know what trauma is, go out, be divorced, and date people of the same age. They all want to be saved. They all want somebody to save them. It's like Footloose. I need a hero. Be your own hero.
Yeah. You and I agree with that, and we definitely believe in that. There is one other comment you made, and I want to be really clear when I say this. I in no way mean to challenge this, but I want to call attention to it because your heart is very evident, and it's very clear how much you care about helping people grow and move. You made one comment, and I'm going to own, dude, that I felt a reaction to it because of the trash from my past, right? And all the narratives that came out. You said, it's time to man up already.
It is.
And so I want to better understand that, but here's where I get concerned. The world tells us to reduce, eliminate, or avoid pain at all costs.
You can't.
To shove down our emotions and show up with a smile on no matter what. And I think that what's clear in the way that you help people move is that you are actually helping them propel through the fears that are shaped from the things that exist beyond. What you're trying to help people do is have permission to stand in their own voice and glory, right? Versus just sit there with your heart on your sleeve, staying stuck in that versus moving through it.
Brian, the thing is, people want to stay on the sidelines. People want to be safe. Oh, I want to avoid pain.
Yeah.
You sometimes have to go through pain. Sometimes you have to fall down.
Yeah.
If you just go over it and pretend it didn't bother you, what you're going to do is the universe is going to keep on giving you the same experience over and over and over again. That's why a lot of people, we date or we're in relationships with the same person, just different name. And they're like, why is this happening? Because you clearly haven't learned your lesson. There's nothing wrong with pain. There's nothing wrong. These are all called learning experiences. A lot of time people are in the pain because it's self-inflicted and they stay in the valley. Get up. Get up. Somebody left you, somebody dumped you, goodbye. That just means the universe, God, whatever, has something better in store for you. You just have to believe in yourself.
It's removal of expectations, removal of control around the expectations. And one of our core philosophies that we teach is embracing pain to avoid suffering. So identifying the areas that you want to avoid the suffering in your life, like loneliness, isolation, the repeat patterns, and then learning to embrace it. So thank you for helping me re-clarify that statement. Because again, I heard you, but we're in a community too, where a lot of people we're encouraging folks to understand how the trash from their past has shaped them so they can find where the treasure is buried and where they can continue to dig. And I know that's all you were saying. I wanted to make sure people didn't have any kind of reaction in the same way I did to the statement, man up.
No,
my friend.
Yeah, you got, sorry about
You're good
there.
We have 5 animals, bro. It's all good. It's your life. Own it. It's all good.
No, but yeah, no. The thing is you can't avoid living. Pain is part of the process. Pain is growing. The thing though is people want to embrace when they do get the pain. They want to beat themselves up. No more wire hangers. But the person with the wire hanger is yourself. You know.
Thank you.
Quit. You've been there. We've been divorced. We've suffered. People have gone bankrupt. People have done this. These are all just experiences. But what happens is, that's why, like when I say dating is a divorced person, they'll be like, oh my gosh, I need somebody to take care of me. I need somebody to take care of my kid. I'm a complete victim. I hear the same narrative over and over. Own it.
No one's coming to save you.
Nobody's
coming to save you.
Kevin Bacon, Ren is not coming from Chicago to save you. You be your own hero. You write your own story. You want a hero? Be the hero. Create such a massive change in your life that you inspire those around you to step up and meet your standards.
Dude, I love that. So would you outline for us what some of your standards are that you choose to live by?
Oh, I'm redoing them because I'm one of those people. I would love to tell people before, I'm not the love doctor. Just follow me when it comes to business, when it comes to marketing. It all bleeds in together.
Agree.
You can't have dysfunction and toxicity only on the personal side, and it won't affect business. What you need to have your mind, body, spirit. You need to be on top of everything. And a lot of times, though, we feel like we're realtors. You know, we want to have the perfect house, so we stage things. That's what social media is. We're all staged to make it look like we're #winning. Don't be winning, be vulnerable. Everybody hurts, everybody wins, everybody loses. Be authentic, be real. Don't be a robot. A lot of times, though, people want to stage their life like they're a realtor.
Yeah, I agree with you completely. And again, it all comes back to some of those same fears: fear of judgment, fear of being left out, fear of not maximizing. And your standards are ones that ultimately get people to connect with themselves, which will help them connect with others.
Well, the universe gives you your standards. It gives you what you feel like you deserve. So if you keep on moving the sand and you keep on lowering your expectations, lowering your standards, you're going to be a magnet to it. I hear it every time. I don't want to be with a smoker. Oh, but that wasn't your standard. That clearly wasn't your non-negotiable. That's just something you pretended was your non-negotiable. And the problem is when you don't raise your standards and you keep on lowering your standards, God and the universe keeps on lowering your expectations, lowering your standards. And how are you going to win when you pretend you're up here, up high, and really your thoughts, your actions, your mind, your heart, and your spirit is way down below?
Lack of congruence and lack of alignment are things, to me, that I've witnessed so many entrepreneurs fail within, right? When there's a lack of congruence in who you are, how you're showing up in the world, the way that you live, the standards that you set, and your non-negotiables, it's very obvious that you cannot allow the universe to work on your behalf. And that's kind of what you're saying as well, is you have everything available to you. You have to continue to move the needle, set higher and higher levels of standards for yourself as you grow into the ones that you've already determined. How did you acquire the title and nickname of the Vacation CEO?
Oh, my first publicist came up with the Vacation CEO because she was social media stalking me. And you see, everybody believes in social media. Everybody believes that everybody's an overnight success or they're super lucky. As an entrepreneur for over 20 years, being married towards the tail end of it, they would see the family vacations to Steamboat. They would see the Mediterranean cruises. They would see the trips to Hawaii. Now, they didn't see me working on weekends. They didn't see me becoming a plumber because I couldn't afford a plumber. They didn't see me doing everything and anything I possibly could. They just saw the XYZ. They didn't see the ABC.
The outcome.
Everybody,
yeah.
oh, you're so lucky. You're lucky. You're lucky. You're always on vacation. So that's the title of Vacation CEO. Now, I use that title to say, if you scale and you believe in yourself and you work hard, you can be the same.
I love it. So as I was trolling around some of your social and everything, it looks like you've got some connection to Smoothie King. You love smoothies. So what is your involvement with smoothies or Smoothie King or any of it?
Smoothie King was a vehicle. Smoothie King is who I was, but unfortunately, the founders sold it to a man, and there was no congruence. They didn't see the 20 years that I put into it, and my ex-wife and my ex-business partner. And even though I plugged them in my 2 books, even though I plugged them a lot, because my philosophy is you don't need a discount. Never discount yourself, never discount your service, never chase people, never chase sales. And that's something that they were doing at a cost. And, I speak my mind. So after 20 years of business, what they did was they gave my ex-wife, my ex-business partner, and myself, they gave us our walking papers. They red tagged us, said sayonara. Not even a thank you. Not even a thank you from them. Yeah.
So you were a franchise owner or high up in management?
No, I was a franchise owner.
Beautiful. And how many locations did you have, just out of curiosity?
We had 5 locations. And we built South Florida. It was a time, like now there's the Smoothie King Center.
Yeah.
Whatnot. But we were pioneers. We were here where nobody knew. Everybody thought only a Jamba and whatnot. It was a process, believe it or not. It would trigger me to talk about it because, yes, abandonment issues.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I sensed a little bit of you when you said it. I was like, bro, I felt it there. Keep going.
Yes. It was so crushing. I felt, I'm not even Jewish, and I felt like I was in Shiva, that they abandoned me like that. They abandoned us. And it was like, and the worst part, they all blocked me, and never a thank you, never anything. And it was something I had to go over. Before, my one sheet said Smoothie King. That's why now it says only smoothies.
Okay, beautiful. Well, I did some digging, bro. I that's what I said. We always flip open those lids. So thank you for sharing that story. And by the way, again, for owning with vulnerability the fact that, that story can still carry some triggers because of everything from your past. And again, you're not getting stuck in it. You're acknowledging it for what it is.
Exactly.
But it was ironic that immediately after we talked about lack of alignment and lack of congruence, that's what led to the demise of that place. There was a lack of congruence, and your awareness to it allowed you to move through it. So that was the past. What came after that, and where are you today, and where are you going, brother?
But all these things are learning experiences, and very recent, because it hit me like a ton of bricks that after everything that I accomplished, to be abandoned. And it's crazy because even in relationships, my personal relationships, like my biggest breakups that put me in the valley, self-imposed, is that feeling of not being enough, of being abandoned, of that little kid saying, what did I do? What could I have done more? And sometimes you're exceptional. Sometimes you're so great. Sometimes you've done everything right. And deep down in the spirit of the other person, they realize they're not worthy and that you deserve so much better. So between Smoothie King and breakups with women, it's been a learning experience to overcome abandonment.
Well, and the thing is abandonment's directly connected to self-worth and shame, right? And that's a deep, 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 dark emotion that can present itself as anger, control, perfectionism, right? Like scarcity. It can show up in so many ways, but what you feel and experience in those moments is that same pattern that you experienced as a kid. What's interesting, and I love how you just owned it again, brother, man. You're vulnerable and you're open. You're sitting in it and you're volunteering it. What I will tell you is that there are people that we've worked with in their 60s and 70s that had convinced themselves, because of the walls and armor they'd built because of the trash from their past, that they couldn't move through it. And though you have moments that you still feel it, you've moved largely in your world and you're teaching others to do the same. And so how are you working with individuals to help them recapture their voice and to actually own the confidence and conviction in who they are?
Well, there's a theme, there's a pattern. Every entrepreneur, what's holding them back is right here, those limiting beliefs. So before, there's these business coaches and all that, rah, rah, rah. You don't need to do the fire walk, pissing on Anthony Robbins, or you don't need to do the plunge pool or whatnot. Business development, screw the personal development. But you have to switch the flip, script, everything. Because a lot of times until you fix your childhood, until you fix those limiting beliefs, you're always going to run into roadblocks. You're always going to run into a ceiling. You're always going to self-destruct because you're going to ask yourself subconsciously, am I worth it? Am I worthy? Do I deserve this? Do I deserve the love that I've always wanted?
Yeah. When did you start to learn and know that you deserved the love that you always wanted?
Man, these are tough questions. I learned very recent, believe it or not. It took me over 40 years to ask out a girl that I grew up with, my neighbor, elementary, junior high, high school, and a couple of years ago said yes and whatnot. And one of the foreshadowing things is she looked me in the eye and she said, "You're the same person." You see, I was wearing a mask. I thought, I conquered all my limiting beliefs, the fear of abandonment, the fear of self-worth. And she foreshadowed what was going to happen when it all ended. And that's when, and that was 2 years ago. And those patterns kept on reappearing until very recently, when it's like, I am worthy. I deserve it. I am a rock star. And so is everybody else.
What I also love is, despite high levels of success, despite high levels of understanding in who you are and conviction and moving through things from your past at multiple times, you're standing here sitting today saying, it was only 2 years ago that I started to believe that I was worthy enough to receive the love that I always wanted. Thank you for going there, and thank you for being so honest in that question, because there are many people who listen to this who may have successful businesses, who may actually have solid families in the current state of their life, yet they still feel that emptiness. They still don't feel like they're worthy of receiving all of what you're teaching people. They just have to reach out and grab. And so I love your vulnerability and authenticity, Omar. Like, truly, it's a beautiful thing. What I'm curious about is, you have standards in lots of different areas as well. I told you, I like to look into folks when I jump in to actually do interviews like this. And I see that you're doing 75 Hard right now, and you're involved, or at least supporting First Form. Andy Frisella is the best. They're an amazing organization. And that book, 75 Hard, I'm a big believer in, has helped a lot of people get there. I'm curious, what initiated that movement for you? Where and why is it important to you right now? And what's your experience going through it?
My experience going through 75 Hard, first time I did it was 2 years ago. And that's when I realized I was worthy. And I realized I was creating my legacy. I was the writer of my story. I am writing my obituary. It was in Las Vegas. I was out in Red Rocks. And I realized that I want to be not an absentee father, not a 50% father, a 100% father.
Yeah.
And I originally thought it, and I was doing it, was to impress the girl I grew up with. Well, she broke up with me like on day 20 or something like that. And I kept on going because it was a public breakup, because she was one of those that had to like tag every post. And I'm a private guy. So and it was somebody I grew up with, and I didn't want to let people down, and it helped me go through that heartache. And then 2020 reappeared as 2022. I went out with a different woman. It was the same thing. And this time around, I get it, maybe coincidence, maybe not. I don't believe in coincidence, but I got dumped. Day whatever it is, but it keeps me focused. But this time around, 2 years ago, I felt crushed. Now I realize until I change my thought patterns, until I change the process, the universe will always keep on giving me the same experience, just a different person. And it was the same results, except this time around, I'm like, well, clearly it was me, because it was me that brought that onto myself. So, and I love Andy. And, I've loved him. I've seen him a million times on stage. Ultimately, I would love to have him. I would love to have him on my podcast. I'd love to be on his. I'd love to even max out.
Well, maybe, man, we'll even get a little bit of a clip of this, and you can send it over to him, because we'll hear it now. Andy Frisella, he's crediting a whole lot of success of some of his personal breakthroughs 2 years ago to your book, 75 Hard, and what he experienced by following that process. Just like you help so many people break through in the processes you create, can you explain to me the significance and power of just simply asking the question, what if?
Yeah, what if it did work is a movement. And it's a free movement. Yes, I wrote a book, and it's only $9.99 because I want people to live a life with no regrets. I want people to live their life to the fullest, to live life on their terms. I even have a free What If It Did Work page on Facebook that you can join. Other people plug their materials. I give out free information. My podcast
I do the same.
is free. I want people to focus on what if, because we hesitate. We always focus on a relationship. What do you want? I don't want bipolar. I don't want drama. I don't want toxicity. I don't want a cheater. I don't want. Then you ask the person, what is it that you want? And they don't know. Everybody only knows what they don't want. Why don't we flip the script and go after what it is that we truly want in our lives, in our heart?
So I'm curious, does the power of the question, what if, work as well in reflection as it does in projection?
Reflection, when somebody reflects on what if it did work, I want them to reflect on, oh my gosh, what if it did work in the past? Reflecting is only good to see how far you've come. I've come so far from that goofy kid that grew up in the working class neighborhood of Miami. I look back and I'm like, holy smokes. If I had a time machine, I would just go back and I would hug it out with that kid. I wouldn't, though, because in Time Cop, you disappear when you hug yourself or you touch yourself. That Jean-Claude Van Damme movie. But
see, more movie references.
I'm all about pop culture.
I see you, bro.
But if I could, I'd hug him and I'd go, I love you and you're worthy and you're going to have an outstanding future and you're going to be exceptional and you're a rock star. That's what and it's something that I had to realize, the back nine of my life instead of back then.
What if someone had told you that then?
I wouldn't have believed them.
That's exactly the point, because you weren't ready to receive the message.
I wasn't, man. And here's a bomb right here. I'm going to give you a bomb.
I'm ready for it.
First time ever. I self-destructed everything. I ended my marriage. I ended because I was chasing money. I felt like that was it. That's why I know with all these gurus and everybody that's chasing money, once you get it, it's not enough. It's never is until you realize you love yourself. The reason why I would always do something and then take steps back is because I felt like I wasn't good enough. Who was I?
Yeah.
Even dating women after being divorced that are emotionally unavailable. That's because that's me. That's because I'm like, yes, I want love, but no, I don't. That's crazy that I had to go through self-destruction after self-destruction until I finally realized, yes, I do love myself. I am worthy.
Thank you for the bomb drop, because that's the truth. And a lot of people have a hard time standing in their truth, but oftentimes the truth is hidden behind the trash from their past. we're going to have some fun when we actually record on your show, because you and I have some really similar trajectories. We have some really similar experiences in life. And it took me a long time to realize that the narratives I was putting out into the world about who I was and what was important to me were not in congruence, and ultimately led to the demise of losing who I was at the biggest level at age 27, while sitting in a position having everything the world ever told me I ever wanted, because I'd chased the money and I had the house, the car, the money, the wife, all of it. And I almost lost every bit of it 1,000% because of me. We'll talk about that, I'm sure.
For sure. To me, it's like what, Steve Miller, big old jet airliner. That's before our time. But to get through heaven, sometimes you have to go through hell. But I don't want people to do that. I had to lose it all to understand that about me. It would have never been enough. I could have had the 5 Lamborghinis. I could have had everything, but it never filled me up, because I never felt the love, and I never felt happiness. I was always chasing it, always trying to buy it. Oh, like Gucci's going to have it. Like, Tesla's going to have the happiness. The key to happiness is you just wake up and you're like, shit, I'm happy to be alive. I'm happy to have electricity. I'm happy to be able to have sound mind, or what I hope to be a sound mind. It's things like that. And it's crazy, because I remember we went to Fiji, which was the poorest country in the world, but also the happiest, because they're not chasing Madison Avenue. They're not saying, well, I need that new Beamer. I need this for happiness. Man, everybody thinks you can buy happiness, and it's scarcity. In fact, it's just all in abundance.
Yes. Awesome. The reality of it is, my friend, is that is why this show exists. We are on a mission to impact over 1 billion lives as quickly as possible by helping reduce the level of suffering that exists on this planet, largely 90% of which exists on the inside. When you share your story, you give people permission to feel and say and articulate things that maybe they haven't felt before. When you share your story, it gives perspective to the paths that have created success. And Omar, you truly have helped create and drop such collective wisdom in this show already that you're already going to shorten the curve to someone else's learning. I like to say, from one of my mentors and friends as well, David Meltzer, often says, don't pay the dummy tax if I can just teach it to you. If I can just show you the dummy tax from all the decisions I made, all the things I did that caused me to do it. Now, to your point, you might not have been ready to hear something earlier in life, but I still would have liked someone telling you that early on, because the earlier you hear it, the more consistently you hear it, the faster we start to believe it.
Well, sometimes every lesson comes at a cost. Some lessons cost the equivalent to a Harvard education.
That's right. That's exactly right. And so thank you for sharing so many gold nugget wisdom lessons today from your experience. I would love to make sure that we're going to have all of your stuff in the show notes. I know you said you've got some free things for individuals as well, but where is the best place for people to connect with you, to follow your work, and to be able to learn from the path that you're creating for others?
Anybody, it's called social media. So why are you private, man? I mean, if you want people to #know you're winning by going to Nobu, let the world know, man. That's what... everything's public. Omar Medrano on Facebook. Also, you can join my group. It's free too. What if it did work? On Facebook. Instagram, Omar Medrano 73. Videos and whatnot. There's a fake account. I'm the account with both my daughters. The fake account. and I don't sling crypto. I don't sling Forex. And I speak perfect English. Congratulations, LSU, for teaching me that. So don't join that one. Join that. I promise never sell any crypto. And it's free information. All I want, we're like-minded people. We don't chase money. We want to see people living their best lives.
We want people to win, man. And again, the more we speak our truth, the more we speak our experiences, the more we shorten that curve for others. And I'm just so grateful that you were able to do that for us today so eloquently.
For sure. It's win-win, brother. A lot of people, though, just have a win-lose. Win at all costs.
Yep.
Screw everybody else.
Yeah, that's divisive behavior, not inclusive behavior. It's not bringing people together. And by the way, you even said it. We all want the same thing. I believe we all want to feel safe. We all want to feel protected, but ultimately we all want to feel seen and understood, and we all want to feel connected. Most importantly with ourselves, and that's what allows us to connect with others and to be able to stand in our voice. And I just, for the purposes of this show and wrapping things up, would like to just challenge the audience to ask the question, what if? One of the things that we believe is to have no limits goals, to live your best life, to actually go after things. It's not to protect yourself in the way that you think, in the way that you operate, but literally figure out how do you start to move through it by asking, what if? What if I did ask that one question? What if I did make that one call? What if I did show up and do something that made me very, very uncomfortable? What's on the other side of that? So often you don't need to protect yourself. You just need to take a look inside, learn the lessons that you can extract and start to move through them. Omar, thank you so much for being here. I'm so happy that you did the work. I'm so happy you asked the question, what if? And until next time, everybody, remember to flip open the lid and take a look inside.